What up guys, so as you may or may not know, Deliveroo sent a help hub down to Reading. So your man Deliveroo rider thought this can't go unnoticed. Let's go mosey on down there and ask them some questions. So I put a video out a couple of days ago asking for questions, and I got a few, and I had a few of my own, and I got some pretty good answers. Some of them were not so great. But all in all, I would say it's a positive experience. Now, I had the GoPro running, but they did pick up on that pretty quickly. And out of respect for them, because they were nice enough guys, I switched it off. But what I did do, and I didn't mention it at the time, is I switched on my audio recorder. Just for my reference, not for this video, I'm going to play it back so I can remember word for word, and then I'm going to paraphrase it in replies to the questions that I got. So I'm going to play the first bit on the GoPro, and it will take us through a bit of a maze in this office building, and then it's going to be me again answering the questions that I got. So sit back and enjoy. So I'm going to try and leave the GoPro running whilst I mosey on in on this help hub. We've got a few bikes here. I don't know if any of them are us. Look like commuters. Oh, pointing at the sky. Oh, no, don't. Oh, thank God for that. I thought that spacer was a goner. Let's do that. Sorted. Alright, let's move those spaces to a more safe location. 1, 2, 3. So I'm taking my bag with me just because I don't want to leave it out here for any length of time. I start work now actually, but I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get any orders for at least 20 minutes, so alright, got the Bluetooth on. I think it's this one. Hello there. Is there some kind of help hub in the Regis?
Yes, Regis. Just around the corner. So
cool, thanks. Hi, I'm after Deliveroo.
You're here to see them? And what time do your appointments?
I don't have an appointment, I think it's just a drop-in.
Okay, just take a seat for me.
Thanks. This is like a help hub, right?
That's right, yeah.
So the other person, they don't work for Deliveroo yet?
Which person?
You said somebody else was coming?
No, I was just looking because there are always people who get lost. Because you see, because of the security reasons, I have to come back and then escort them up.
Oh, no worries.
So they need a pass to go. So I was just looking if there is anyone outside. They can come because we always expect people in that time.
You probably won't get many people now, it's lunchtime.
Yeah, that's true. But you know, it's always worth looking, checking. Because the entrance is a bit confusing sometimes to this address.
Not confusing for us, we deliver here.
Yeah, to college shoes, yeah. Oh, you delivered here as well?
Yeah.
Hello.
Derek, area manager.
Oh, sweet.
How are you?
I'm pretty good, thank you.
Good.
So you guys work for Deliveroo then, yeah?
Yes, we do. Yes.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Good
yeah.
to see you've got the camera on. Always good to protect yourself.
Okay, so rather frustratingly, this is going to be in lots of little segments because I use my phone to record the audio to recap myself, and I'm using the phone to record because the camera on my laptop is just worse than bad. I could use my GoPro, but because it doesn't have a screen, I prefer to see myself whilst I'm recording. So anyway, this is how I'm going to do it. The first question is really easy to deal with. The first question was one of mine, and it was, is Deliveroo going to get bought out by Uber? And if it does, how's it going to affect the people that work with them? Sorry, I got something in my eye. Their answer was pretty categorical. It was, no, it ain't going to happen. They did speculate a little bit that there could be ulterior motives behind this, one of which could be share prices because of the difference in share price for Just Eat or Stuart. Well, I'm guessing it's Just Eat because Stuart is just their subcontractor, I guess. Dropped by 16%, I think, on the day that it was announced. So that could be a reason. I don't know why I have this negative view of Uber Eats. Something must have happened in the past, but anyway, I wouldn't put it past them. Yeah, so they pretty much said that if it is going to happen, then not many people know about it, as in just Will, Shew, or something like that. But I think it's incredibly unlikely. I find that reassuring for various different reasons, but I'm happy with that, so it shouldn't affect us. I also read something online that Amazon want to buy Deliveroo. That's a completely different subject. No idea. I didn't ask them that because I wasn't aware of it. But they did seem like they were trying to convey the message that Will Shew wasn't interested in selling. So that's pretty cool, I think. So it's not going to affect us because I doubt it will happen. Okay, the next one that I asked about, which is probably a massive one, is distance-based fees. Now, they did give me a couple of answers about this, none of which were satisfactory, one of which was completely phoned in and kind of BS. The other one had some substance behind it, and it's a point that I hadn't previously considered. My question was this, not that the distance-based fees are too low, my question was, there is absolutely no consistency to them. You could deliver to one house and then slightly down the road, deliver to somewhere else, and it will be a completely different fee. Different fees, different days, just no consistency, no logic. And you think, okay, I'm going 100 meters down the road and I'm getting this amount, and now I'm going 2 kilometers down the road and I'm getting a matter of pence more. It's just, there's no logic to it. And I put this to them, and their answer was, I suppose it was kind of good in a way that one of them said, we don't understand the algorithm completely, and not many people do. Bit of a cop-out, but it's the truth, so I can accept that. Then one of them went on to say that a potential reason for the difference in fees is if an order gets rejected so many times, then it will get a little boost to encourage someone to accept it, which I think is a really good idea. It's something that I hadn't considered before, and it makes perfect sense. So that could be one of the reasons why, and yeah, I can accept that. Then the other guy went on to say that he was just basically reiterating the gumph that you get from Deliveroo, saying it's about distance, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, not really, because you could deliver to one house and it would be one fee, and then down the road and it would be another. And he said, that isn't true. And I was like, well, I think you're wrong. I could give you some examples. But he was just giving me just the responses that you would read in an email. So I think what it comes down to is that they don't understand the algorithm. I did like the reply about the little boost, because that made perfect sense to me. That's logical. That could be why. I don't honestly think that accounts for the majority of the irregularities, but that's just my opinion, of course. Right. I asked him about recruitment because I've been getting a lot of messages from people saying that Deliveroo aren't recruiting in their areas. Like, not that, just flat out they can't apply because the area is full or whatever. And I suppose that's good for the people who are working currently. I find it a little bit concerning because in previous years, in the come to Christmas, it's always been recruit, 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 recruit. And I find that a little bit concerning. And it does seem to be, I would say that it does seem to be a little bit quieter this last year, which is a little bit concerning, but there could be a few reasons for that. The answer that I got was that that Deliveroo is such a player now that people want to. Recruitment is a lot easier because they've got an established name. Which, yeah, I guess that's true. They didn't really talk much about how, as a comparison from previous years, apart from that answer, that it's a lot easier for them to recruit. So whether they've over-recruited, it's possible. And I know a lot of you watching this are going to be shouting, yes, they have, yes, they have, yes, they have. But as I've said in previous videos, it's the nature of the business. If they don't have the riders, they don't have a business. So they're just protecting themselves. And we do have quite a high turnover of staff. This is just my opinions. It's not fact. But I don't blame them for over-recruiting at all, because if one day their rotation of staff increased and they hadn't kept up with recruiting, then it's going to cause a demand. And if they can't satisfy that demand in a quick enough time, then the customers are going to move on to Uber or Just Eat or both. Or, I don't know, maybe leave their house and buy food themselves. I don't think that's ever going to happen, but hey-ho. Okay, so let me just get back and recap myself on the next couple of questions. Okay, this is a biggie. This question comes from Ian, and it's regarding waiting times. How can we constructively report waiting times so something actually happens? And this answer that I got is kind of bittersweet. Mostly bitter, but a little bit sweet. Basically, I put that question to them, and their answer was, well, the long and short of it is there is no way that you can constructively report a restaurant. However, it may be that us pressing that little waiting too long button hundreds of times a day for Nando's, Wagamama, etc., is actually doing something. Their response is, now that we are a bigger player in this industry, we're a recognised brand, and we're making such a difference to the restaurants. I'm guessing that's like, as in money, how much money that they're making them, that they now have the weight behind them to say, come on, sort it out, fellas, or we're going to remove you from our platform. And supposedly it could just be gumph, it could just be that we're doing everything we can and we're having advances in this area, that type of BS. But I kind of believe him. And there's actually one sign of that today. I'll go into that. Basically, what they're saying is that now they don't need to be pushed around anymore because they've got enough weight to say, play by our rules, or at least try to play by our rules, or you can't play. And they're saying that they'll take Deliveroo out of the restaurants who are the worst offenders, or along those lines, without actually saying that. And basically the dude was like, keep pressing that button because it may take years. It's not really great for people who only do it part-time or for a short period of time, but it is going to do something. And he was saying that in some of the, he said Asian food restaurant, and I think everybody there knew that he was talking about Wagamamas. He was saying that there's going to be a change in the way that they manage Deliveroo, changing at the moment, or coming up soon, and is going to be more efficient. Whether that becomes to fruition is something entirely different. We'll have to see. However, Todd, you've met him before, he noticed that Nando's on their staff notice board were displaying waiting times for Deliveroo, or percentages throughout the week through different times. And the fact that they're aware of it is a good sign. And that could be from, I mean, it has to be from Deliveroo saying, sort it out, because Nando's are not going to get off their own back. I suppose they might because it's money, but they get the money regardless, you know. Even if the customer has to wait an hour for their food, they're still getting the money. They might get more money, but it's a bit short-sighted for them to realise that if they're efficient, then more people are going to order them. So the fact that they've got that board suggests that Deliveroo are leaning on them to be more efficient. Although, could you say that it's for us? The fact that they're talking about targets over a period of years as opposed to months is probably because Deliveroo realises that to a degree they're losing money, because if a rider is stuck outside a restaurant for an hour, then they aren't making money off of that rider. Not that the riders aren't making money, but it's a business, it's not a charity. They've got to look out for their own interests. And to be fair, the majority of time, something that people don't realise, or they don't, is, I think it's fundamentally because human beings are selfish. The thing that they don't realise is what's good for us is also good for Deliveroo most of the time, with the exception of maybe fees, how much you get per delivery. So it's not really something that they want. They don't want us stuck in a restaurant for an hour or half an hour, because they'll make more money if we're working. Like, that is fact. That is undisputable. So yeah, it's going to be one of those things, isn't it? They say that things are happening like they always do. They say that they're improving like they always do. And whether it actually happens is, it might be marginal. There might be a small improvement, but we're always going to have problems with waiting times in busy restaurants in busy times. It's unavoidable. It's unavoidable. You're looking at, yes, organisation, but you're also looking at staffing levels. It's like saying, if I go to such and such at lunchtime or in the evening, I'm going to have to wait longer for my food. It's just fact, you know? It's one of those things that you have to put up with. Deliveroo are saying that they're doing what they can, but there is no other way of reporting these restaurants than pressing that little tick button, unfortunately. So sorry, Ian. There's a bit of a long-winded answer, but that's the answer that I got, or roundabouts, I paraphrased it. So the next one, we're still talking about waiting times, but I made a little faux pas. The guy, in answering the question, the guy said, are you per drop? Are you hourly? And I thought that was a perfect opportunity to say, I'm per drop. You fired all the per hour, didn't you know? And obviously that wasn't true. Basically, I'd read online, and also somebody that I work with mentioned this, that they sent out a new contract, and if you don't sign it in time, then basically your account gets suspended or blocked, or whatever you want to call it. And if you want to work for them, you have to reapply. And of course, if you reapply, the only way of doing it is per drop, not per hour. But supposedly, if you did sign the contract in time, and I don't know what the deadline was, how long people had to sign it, but supposedly if you did sign it in time, you could still be per hour. I don't know what the ins and outs of the new contract was. It was probably to weed out some of the people, but I mean, I can't officially what I just did. Could I suggest that Deliveroo were trying to weed out lazy people that didn't check their emails? It's entirely possible, because they don't want per hour people. So I think the long and short of it is that's what it was for. I don't know what the other details were within the difference to the service contract. Somebody might want to comment below how it was different, and also how long they had to sign it. But let's face it, they're just trying to get rid of per hour people. It did make me chuckle that you it was just a funny moment, I guess. Anyway, where were we going with this? Yeah, so that was my mistake. So I did actually ask them what the difference between the two service contracts was, and he said, I don't know. So that's fair enough. I can actually answer another question. I was trying to think of it in the last video, that's why I hesitated, but I forgot, and now I've remembered. Somebody said bring back per hour, and I did mention that tongue-in-cheek tongue-in-cheek because I knew that would never happen, and the immediate response was that will never happen. So that's an easy one to answer. So I can't remember who asked that one, but ain't gonna happen. And I guess it depends on the area, but I definitely earn more per drop than I do per hour. And I work a range of times from quiet lunch periods up into super peak. So yeah, I get it's difficult for me to say per drop is better, because some people in like really quiet areas are like, no it ain't, and I get that, but I'm sorry guys, but it ain't coming back. So the next thing that came up was little old me. I mentioned that last year that this rider liaison guy promised that he was going to get me an interview with Shew, and they were like, oh okay, and I was like, well, it didn't happen. And then I told them that I emailed Deliveroo and asked for an interview with somebody in head office, and to which I got a reply, we don't do that. And I replied back to them, oh, thank you for your response. I will be sure to let my 1 million viewers know that you aren't interested. That was me being a little bit, what's the word? Deflated. And I pointed out that I probably helped Deliveroo out a bit with the help videos that I make. Probably, I don't know. And I was just trying to get some kind of reaction out of them as to how they feel about me. And they said that they're aware of me in the office. He did mention before, probably a few minutes into the discussion, that there was somebody in Reading who made YouTube videos. And I'm like, you didn't do your homework, mate, did you? But I think about 10 minutes in, he clicked. He was like, yeah, that is you, isn't it? I was like, yeah. But basically what he said was, we are aware of you. You are famous in the office, so famous that you didn't recognise me, evidently. And overall, we're happy about what you do, because I said to them, I'm so surprised that I haven't had an email asking me to stop, because the things that I do tend to get away with quite a lot. And he said, no, that will never happen. Overall, we're happy with what you're doing. We wouldn't tell you to stop because you give a balanced feedback. It's not always right, but I do give balanced feedback. I tend to get it wrong sometimes. But there's no chance of me getting an interview with Shew. So I'm not going to hold my breath there. But I really don't understand. I really don't understand how they view me. It's a very strange relationship. It's like they're aware of me, but not enough to care. It's very strange. Anyway, enough of that. Okay, so the next question that I read out was make every area a free login zone. Now, this isn't something that I would like or want, but their answer was actually quite interesting, so much so that it warranted its own video. Their response was, ain't gonna happen. In fact, they're getting rid of free login zones because it has a negative effect on the end of the week. And their opinion of this was that what they were saying is that riders, or at least this is what they thought, riders were setting themselves a target of how much they wanted to earn in a week. It's not something I do, but... And then once they were hitting that target, then they would potentially not work the Friday, Saturday and Sunday, or just Saturday and Sunday, or even just Sunday, because they had earned enough money for the week and they wanted to relax, maybe go out and have a couple of bevies or something like that. And as such, they weren't having enough riders to meet the demand on their busiest times, the Friday, Saturday and Sunday. And of course, without the super peak priority, there was no... Oh, saying that, another point is waiting times as well. That might be a reason why people don't want to work with super peak, because if there's no incentive to do it, i.e. you don't get priority for booking shifts because you don't need to because it's free login, then why would you want to work where the likelihood is that you're going to wait 40 minutes, half an hour, 40 minutes for an order when you could just work any normal day and not have to wait so long because the restaurant's so busy. That makes perfect sense to me, actually. I don't think it's because people set themselves targets. I think it's waiting times, in my opinion. Anyway, there's going to be no more, as from what they were saying, there's going to be no more free login zones, and they'll probably get rid of more. They got rid of Exeter, and I imagine Exeter's quite a large student town too, so definitely I can imagine, not stereotyping, but students drinking on Friday and Saturday, Sunday nights, not wanting to work. Anyway, what do you think about that? There's many questions asked and not many answered, but yeah, ain't gonna happen. I doubt that there'd be any more free login zones, but who knows? That's just my opinion. So the next one's pretty quick. It's regarding the change of vehicle. Somebody asked for the ability, or how do they change vehicle before the beginning of their shift, and I thought they had already done that because it's on the app, but supposedly that just sends it to a form. There's two answers to this. The first one is it will be coming soon in an update. The second answer is that form goes to the admin team, and it's very much in their interest to do it as soon as possible. I think he gave me the figure of approximately 15 minutes, but I don't know. I guess it depends if that's going to Manila or the UK, because Manila obviously is 24, well, covers all of our shifts. But it's in their interest to do it because they could potentially be paying petrol money when they wouldn't necessarily need to. So that pretty much concisely answers it. Okay, I'm a bit skeptical about this next answer. It was the question, can cyclists get priority instead of motorbikes now? And obviously that was a silly question, that's never going to happen. But their answer was kind of interesting. So the first one was that Frank, the algorithm that decides who gets orders, is incredibly complicated. And then the other guy chimed in and said that cyclists, 1, get more orders, and 2, get more close orders than motorbikes. To which I said, you're wrong. Sorry, mate, but you're just wrong. That's not true. And I gave him the example that if you turn up for a shift and there's 2 or 3 cyclists there, or even 4 or 5, whatever, it doesn't matter, that's irrelevant. If you turn up and there are 2 or 3 scooters parked up waiting for orders, you can pretty much guarantee that you ain't going to beep until those scooters have an order and either have left or have accepted an order. And that is day in, day out. Observations. So I think I pretty much shut him down with that one. I think he accepted that answer. But the mere fact that he was trying to tell me, 1, that cyclists get priority for short deliveries and cyclists make more than motorbikes, it's kind of like, sorry mate, but I don't know why you're saying that. So this one's a pretty quick one. Probably doesn't really affect that many people, but how long can you not work for before you get deactivated, fired, whatever you want to call it? Well, if you are away for up to 5 months, after 5 months you have to do a, he had some funny name, renewal or something like that, where you just have your documents checked and you're fine, and then after 9 months you have to reapply. So it's pretty simple.
It's our very first HELP HUB today in Reading.
Yeah. How's it gone down in other areas?
Yeah, good, because a lot of riders do come up at this way, and it's always good to, I think they find it, sometimes riders have this problem that is going up, that there is no one they can talk to.
Yeah, no, that's always...
The HELP HUB is going to eliminate that.
Yeah. No, it's a good idea, because when I first started, I just couldn't believe that Deliveroo was just so elusive. It's just like, well, how am I supposed to get help or anything? That's one of the reasons I made a YouTube channel, because I just couldn't get any kind of support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I ride sometimes as well in Reading.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It's a good
Do
job.
you live in Reading?
Yes, I do.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I was gonna stop it.
I'll tell people about this because
Thank you very much.
it's no problem. And I'll probably come again as well because I get questions all the time. Right.
Thank you very much. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Have a good day.
All right. So that was pretty good. Oh, bloody rain.